All right, so good morning, everyone. I'm so excited for today. I'm so glad you all came to learn this wonderful information. We've got Dr. Angela Seay with us today, and she's going to be teaching us about the connection between mental health and nutrition. There's a lot of talk about that in our public circles about mindfulness, health, eating well, and all that. And Angela is going to give us some details, give us the rundown on what the connection is, how we can use it to our benefit. I know as caregivers, getting that respite that we need, getting that break that we need isn't always an option for us. And so I really want to bring you tools that you can use right where you are that aren't going to take up a lot of your time or your resources, and building a good foundation on our own personal physical health is a great way for us to maintain good, solid mental health. So a little bit about Dr. Seay. She has a background in education with a bachelor's degree in early childhood education, 2 master's degrees in K-12 administration and supervision, and early childhood education, an education specialist degree in curriculum and instruction, and 3 doctorate degrees in instructional leadership, divinity, and entrepreneurship and business and administration. Additional certifications, Reiki Master, Body Sculpting Specialist, Acupressure and Massage Therapy, Health and Wellness Coach, Business Coach, Women's Entrepreneurship, Zumba, and Zumba by, Strong by Zumba and Zumba Aqua. All of the above, I think, is just such an amazing concoction of knowledge and care and kindness. I can already tell by the things that you invested your time in, Dr. Angela, that you are a very compassionate and caring person. And so I'm very grateful that you agreed to come here today and speak with our caregivers, who are also kind and compassionate people. So we'll all be speaking the same language today. And so without further ado, I'll go ahead and give the mic, I guess, to Dr. Angela. And thank you. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Jeannie. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you guys for coming. I'm going to share some information with you as relates to nutrition and mental wellness and mental health, because our nutrition plays a major part in what we do and how we function on a daily basis. So with that being said, I'm going to share my screen. And if you have questions along the way, you can put them in the chat, or you can raise your hand or signal to us that you have a question, and we will address it along the way. And we will have time at the end also, if you have comments or additional questions for me, that I'll be able to help you and answer anything that you have. And if I can't answer it right now, I promise you I'll know where to find the answer and get back to you. How's that? Okay, good deal. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, nutrition.
Angela,
yes.
I was just going to say, I can keep an eye on the chat. So if any questions come in, I can read those out to you.
Okay, good deal. Because I won't be able to see them as I'm sharing my screen. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And it'll work so smoothly. We're going to talk about nutrition and mental wellness and how what we eat impacts our bodies, right? And when I talk to people, I let them know that what you eat, how you think, and everything has a major impact on your body, and your body pays for it, whether it's in a positive or a negative light. So you want to make sure that your nutrition is key. So we're going to talk about the connection between mental health and the complex bi-directional relationship that highlights the impact of dietary choices on cognitive function, emotional well-being, and mental disorders. There's a lot of research and specific research that shows that certain nutrients play a crucial role in supporting brain health and physiological well-being. So we're going to talk about the importance of consuming a balanced diet that includes nutrient-rich foods while minimizing inflammation and excessive sugar that helps support well-being and potentially reduce the risk of conditions like depression, anxiety, cognitive decline, and things of that nature. Okay, nutrition plays a pivotal role in the mental health due to a profound impact of brain function and emotional well-being. So you want to look at things like when you have a balanced diet that includes nutrients like omega-3 fatty acids, vitamins, minerals, amino acids, that are fundamental to neurotransmitter production, nerve signaling, and cognitive processes. So the brain functions, the mood regulations, inflammation, the gut-brain axis that we talk about, the neurons in our brain and gut works together. So if we are intaking things that are not good for us, then it impacts our brain power, thinking capacity, and the list goes on and on. Our energy levels are affected. So when you are a caregiver, you need extra energy, right? Because you need energy to sustain yourself so that you'll be able to do what you need to do to take care of your loved ones and the people around you. As well as knowing that there are people who are depending on you. And if you don't take care of yourself, you will not be able to be of service to the others that you so love and care about, right? Nutrition of, I'm sorry, did I have a question? Okay. Nutrition affects your cognition and concentration. Nutrition helps with preventing and managing mental disorders. It supports resilience. Holistic approach is my all-time favorite because that's an area of expertise and that is dear to my heart. And when you implement a holistic approach, it enhances the quality of life, right? Because when you talk about holistic, you are talking about not only what you eat, is your physical well-being, your mental well-being, your social life, and the list goes on and on. Those dimensions, those 9 dimensions of wellness. So nutrients for mental well-being, your fatty acids, omega-3s, vitamin B, vitamin D, antioxidants, and amino acids. We need a good balance of them so that we can function and do the things that we need to do. And in doing so, you will you can, in a balanced diet, you will address all of these things. And think about when you have different meal types. Sometimes we're always on the go. We don't have time to prepare our foods, and we'll get something that's really quick that is not always in the best interest of helping us with enhancing our brain power, cognitive development and continuation, and it works against the body. Now, our omega-3s and fatty acids consist of foods like salmon, mackerel, and sardines. I'm a firm believer in flax seeds, chia seeds, and walnuts, and they're crucial to brain health. Now, my diet is plant-based. I'm vegan, but it's by choice. And I don't judge people, and I give information that is beneficial. And I don't say, well, you need to stop eating this, that, or the third. We help people make the decision to and make the transition to eating things that will sustain, that are sustainable for the body and mind and longevity, right? And that's what we do. And these, the omega-3 and fatty acids support the structure of brain cell membranes and help regulate neurotransmitters that involves the mood. So we want to make sure that, because if our mood is off track, that means it increases our stress levels, our blood pressure increases, the sugar level increases, and we cannot function the way that we need to, because our body is in an outrage. As it relates to the vitamin B, they're essential for neurotransmitters synthesis and the function. So, and those consist of whole grains, leafy greens, beans, nuts, seeds, lean meats, and some dairy products. And even though that some dairy products causes inflammation, our bodies sometimes need them, and we can have alternatives so that we minimize the inflammation. And we'll talk about inflammation and how it impacts our mental well-being also. Vitamin D sources, which is extremely important for brain health and regulating the mood. And if you have a deficiency in vitamin D, it is linked to depression. So you want to make sure that you get vitamin D. And vitamin D is natural, right? Because we're exposed to the sun. We can walk outside, inhale the fresh air, and just get the vitamin D from a natural source. Our antioxidants are vitamins C and E, and you can get them in minerals, and they are antioxidants that protect the brain cells from oxidative stress and inflammation. Fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, and whole grains. Amino acids are found in nuts and seeds, turkey, and chicken and beans. Magnesium helps supports the nerves and nerve functions and mood regulations, and can also be found in leafy greens, nuts, seeds, whole grains, and beans. Zinc is another one that is supportive of neurotransmitter synthesis, and it regulates the mood. And it can be found in nuts, seeds, and grains, lean meat, and seafood. Iron is also important because the oxygen transports to the brain to involve the energy metabolism. Is a good source in lean meats, poultry, fish, beans, and etc. And you want also probiotics, like in kimchi and sauerkraut, and they help the gut. Remember, I mentioned earlier about the gut and brain connection, and it really makes a difference. And anything that happens to us, and this is just a little sidebar, anything that goes wrong with the body, it usually starts in the gut, because bacteria starts to build and grow. It gets a blood supply, and then it starts growing. Your body don't know that it's not supposed to be there, and it can't break it down. But once it's there and it's there for a while, it starts to do what it needs to do because it believes that it's a part of the survival mode, and it's working to keep it in that mode, right? So you want to control inflammation by eating, diet-rich whole foods, fruits, vegetables, lean proteins. They all reduce inflammation. And chronic inflammation has been linked to mood disorders, and managing them will help you live healthier and happier and be of service to the people who love you. So just think about it for a second. When you're in pain, you don't want to be bothered with nothing and nobody. I don't know about you all, but it's almost like don't call my name if I'm in excruciating pain. And I've only been that way maybe once or twice during my time, and I'm grateful for that. But I've served in excuse me, in capacity that I've had to work with people who dealt with excruciating pain, and it is no joke. But once you change and gradually change your diet, it really will make a difference in your mood, because your blood pressure is elevated, your stress levels are elevated, and it has a domino effect on your body, your mental capacity, how you think, the ability to think, and everything. You want to make sure that your body is not deprived of the proper nutrients, because if it is deprived, then you will have other issues, that your brain cannot function the way that it needs to. If your mood is not in the right place, then everything else is off. It's almost like your circulatory system being off track. And the circulatory system is the main hub for everything that goes on with your body. Your hormones, your moods, all of your other systems. And if it's off track, that means everything else is off track. So you want to focus on making sure that your nutrition is well balanced. And even though sometimes we think that we don't have time to do it, we really do. We really have the time. We just have to plan properly and make it a priority, just as it is a priority for us to do the things that we do to take care of everybody else and everything else. You have to make it a priority to take care of yourself, and you want to have an overall physiological well-being. And in doing so, having a balanced diet help with neurotransmitter production. That means your brain cells regenerate and function the way that they're supposed to. Your blood sugar is stable. You have omega-3 fatty acids, micronutrients, and again, the gut and brain axis work the way that it's supposed to. The inflammation control, because your body will wreak with pain due to inflammation, and you can get your body can get inflamed in your joints just from sitting too long and not stretching properly, and the list goes on. And that's another presentation of how you can combat inflammation if you already have it, based on whatever your lifestyle has been. You want to make sure that your body is not deficient of the nutrients. You want to do mindful eating and have your energy levels where they need to be, and practice holistic health. Now, and I want to highlight energy levels again, because having a balanced diet supplies the body with consistent energy throughout the day, and adequate energy levels is vital to maintain focus, productivity, and a positive outlook on life. Now, and you have to be present. I do want to also about being present when for mindful eating. You have to know what you're eating and how it is beneficial to your body, or if it's not, and those things that are not beneficial to the body and longevity and a positive outcome. We want to limit those things. I know that you can't just, it is unheard of to just stop instantly from doing things that you are accustomed to doing, but we help people gradually make those changes so that they are sustainable, and it's a lifestyle change rather than just, okay, I'm gonna do this just for 1 minute. And it helps promote awareness of food choices, your eating patterns, and build a positive relationship with food, and minimizes emotional eating. Because sometimes we can get stressed when we are caregivers, and we will emotionally eat, and it does terrible things to our bodies and our mental capacity. So you want to make sure that you have a balanced diet because it provides nutrients necessary for brain function, neurotransmitter production, and emotional stability, right? So we have to be emotionally sound when we are caregivers, not only for them, but for ourselves. You will find yourself really exhausted most of the time when you do not eat properly or take the time to eat, have a balanced diet when you're going through your everyday routines, different activities or their lack of. You may find yourself being really exhausted when you really haven't done anything, and you need to also get proper sleep. Your nutrition, and this is another topic for another day, that nutrition is not all about what you eat. It's a large component, but nutrition consists of your daily activities, and that includes sleep. You have to get enough sleep for your body, and it varies depending on who you are, your lifestyle, and what you're doing. Sometimes research says you need 8 hours, sometimes, but according to your body and lifestyle, you may not need 8 hours. Your body may not get, and you can function on 6 hours, 4 hours. It all depends on what you do and how you train your body and being consistent. Right? Are there any questions about a balanced diet and mood regulations and the things that we've shared so far? All minds and hearts are clear for the good of the order. It may be difficult for you to type in the chat. If you want to unmute and ask your questions, you can. I guess that means
Dr. Angela, I didn't have a question, but I do want to kind of piggyback on what you were saying about how our moods are affected by what we eat. Just a brief story. I've been working full time for the first time in probably about 15 years. I was a stay-at-home mom for a long time. And now dad's kind of taken over a lot of the household duties, and that includes meal prep. And so we've been eating a lot of convenience foods, a lot of prepackaged foods, which I'm grateful for his effort. He's still learning, but I would cook every night before I start working full time. And I have noticed a decline in the mental health of everyone in my family. And so while I was off this last week, I went and I did a complete pantry clean out, refrigerator clean out. I got all my produce and my good meats and did some meal prep. And so almost immediately there was a shift in everybody's moods just from having fresh greens and lean meats for a couple meals. It definitely made a difference. It was almost an instant improvement.
Great. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that story. And that kind of confirms that when I said earlier that you can make small changes. You don't have to make a major overhaul to get your body on track, and seeing that it makes a difference with what you eat, when you eat it, and it has a major impact on your body.
So we do have a question in the chat. Marlo wants to know, what are good foods to add to eat clean, vegan, keto? I'm finding it very, very difficult.
What's the name again? I want to call whoever it is by their name. Who's the name?
Marlo.
Marlo, thank you for your question. It's a process. It's really a process to make the transition to eat clean, and it doesn't necessarily have to be keto and so many different things all at once, because it'll confuse your body when you're trying to do too many things to it and make too many changes. For an example, if you're committed to making a transition to a healthier lifestyle and you want to start eating clean, excuse me, I always advise people to start with your water intake. And this is how you can do that. And I being an educator, I tell you, give you something that you can start with, and then I tell you how, right? Because when I say to people, you need to drink at least half your body weight in ounces of water every day. That's if you don't exercise or do anything. And let me tell you why. Just from talking and breathing, your body expels water. And you know that your body makeup is probably about 80% or something of water. And I do have a slide or something in here, I think, if I didn't take it out, about just the brain is made of 75% of water. So you want to keep your body hydrated. And I do have something in there because I always mention about hydration because it is major to the body. So you want to start there. And normally I also tell people to do one thing for 21 days. 21 days is my thing because my family was military. My uncle was military, and he taught me to do certain things. And he said by day 21, it's part of who you are. It's a habit now. So I learned reading. I learned how to tie my shoes. I learned how to cursive write before I learned print. Using that method, and as a kindergarten teacher, middle school administrator, and all that, and as a health and wellness coach, it really works. Sometimes you need more than 21 days. Give yourself 30 days. Even if you need 60 days, do that. But do one thing at a time, and start with the water. And this is how you can increase your water intake. You have a bottle of water, a cup of water right by your bed, already there waiting for you when you wake up in the morning. After you give thanks and being grateful for seeing a new day, take down a bottle of water, and it's done. It is done. Now, then mid-morning, have you another bottle, or either a cup, if it's 8 ounces, 16 ounces, or 20 ounces, whatever it is that works for you, then have that. Then with your meals, replace one meal with water. If you drink soft drinks, or if you drink whatever it is that you drink that has some sugar and hidden sugars in it, just add some, start with replacing one with water, and then gradually increase it. And if you are a coffee drinker, coffee dehydrates the body. I don't say, okay, you got to quit drinking your coffee like right now, because that's a process. But what you can do is have you a cup of water before you have your coffee, and a cup of water after you have your coffee. And then that way, your body your organs can still work to take care of itself the way that it's supposed to. Does that make sense? Did I answer your question? Marlo?
Marlo says, thank you.
Okay.
We also have another question from Jay.
Okay.
What is a good complete vitamin to take to supplement a healthy diet?
Well, I'm not big on vitamins because you can get the nutrients that you need in plants, lean meats, grains, beans, all of that will come. And let me explain to you why I say no to a complex or multivitamins, because your body may not need all the stuff that is in it. And the vitamins are sometimes really processed, and they have other things in there that your body can't break down. So that means your organs will have to work overtime. So I would suggest that you increase your vegetable intake, and the more vegetables you can have raw, the better off you will be. Exercise, stretch, increase your water, increase your vegetables, and your body will do what it needs to do because you'll be giving it the nutrients that it needs. Look for fruits and vegetables that are in season. I don't know if your schedule permits or what you do. I try to can and freeze vegetables like some berries and pineapple, things that are summer fruit. I try to freeze them myself so that I can have some when they are off season. But there, and that's just my take on it, because you want to stay away from as much processed as possible. And the more you can do for yourself, and there, I have a slide in here about preparing and planning meals to cook at home versus going out. Thank you, Jay, for your question. Are there any other questions?
I have a question. This is Charlotte.
Okay,
Charlotte Strong.
Okay.
My question is, I don't know if I'm doing the right thing by boiling my water, but I do boil it. I know water is bad, just coming out of the faucet.
Mm-hmm.
But I do boil. I boil my water, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because I was buying bottled water one time when you buy it in these 5-gallon jugs. And you have to turn the jugs in, and then you go back whenever you're gonna get a refill, and you get it. Yes. And one day, it was this odor coming out of this big bottle of water, and I stopped buying it because these bottles are going into people's homes. And I just stopped and just started boiling my own water, and I've been doing it now for over a year.
Well, good for you, Shirley. I boil my water too. I don't buy water. Good. I don't buy. You're doing
Thank you.
Yes, you're doing the right thing to boil your water. I do it. And I also use a filter pitcher. I boil it and I use a filter pitcher. And I've been using a filter pitcher for years, and I've been boiling my water for years. I never bought that 5-gallon thing, but I did used to buy what is labeled as alkaline water. And I started, so I stopped doing that because it costs too much money when we can do what we need to do ourselves, right? So,
amen.
So I commend you, and please share it with other people in your circle that it is good that you boil your water. And I would suggest that you also take it a step further to use the filtered pitcher, because you wash your dishes in the water from the faucet, and you probably use I don't know what kind of dishwashing liquid you use, but if it's one
Dawn,
okay,
I use Dawn.
Okay, well, you want to use the filter pitcher also when you boil your water, because you use Dawn. Dawn was my favorite too. I grew up with it, and I bought it up until maybe 10 or 15 years ago. I stopped, but even things like that from the environment affects us and our bodies. So boil your water, but still think about getting a filter pitcher, and they don't cost that much. You can find them anywhere, and it's really worth it.
Thank you so much. Yes. Thank you.
You're welcome. Much. Yes, you're welcome. It's really worth the investment. So I have this slide so that you can see, some of you can see, it has the pro-inflammatory foods and the anti-inflammatory foods. And I like to show that and talk about the difference so that you can see what you eat. If you eat those quick fixes like the breads, the buns, the pizza, the sugary, even ketchup and fries, French fries, potato chips and popcorn and sauces, all kinds of those things that quote unquote make the food taste good are pro-inflammatory foods. They wreak havoc on your body. And the anti-inflammatories are our natural things. The greens, all of the greens, the yellow vegetables, any vegetables, fruit, and just like everything else, you have to do, especially fruit that are high in their own sugar, you have to do them in moderation. But if you have things like berries, greens, all the leafy greens and the omega-3s, you will be good to go, right? So when you consume those things that are pro-inflammatory foods, they affect your mood swings. And those things that are processed, the fast food, the quick fixes, they are notorious for their sugar and the sodium content. But the sugar impacts the mood swings. And sometimes it makes your body think that, oh, I have to have it, because it is addictive. Sugar is addictive. And sometimes we don't know that it is. And our bodies will go through withdrawals because of it. And I can tell you from my own experience. Now, I've been vegetarian for quite some time. My oldest daughter is probably about 30. She's 35. So probably like 33 years or so. I stopped eating beef and pork for quite some time. But I was big on sweets because I'm a baker. Like, I made my own cookies. My family called them $1 million cookies because they were really big and packed with caramels and all kinds of different things. But and I would bake sweet potato pie and all the things. My Kool-Aid that I made, I made Kool-Aid, a 2-gallon pitcher that I would make, but I would use 2 packs of lemon and 3 packs of grape Kool-Aid and about 4 or 5 cups of sugar. Right? Mm. Right. I did that. I was doing that. And that was the only, I didn't grow up liking soft drinks that much anyway, but Kool-Aid was my thing. But the moment I stopped doing that, it said, when you learn better, you do better. It makes a difference. And then I was a kindergarten teacher. So I really had to make sure that I, kept myself balanced in everything. I other than the sugar, I did eat clean. I exercised every single day. I stretched. I did all the other things, but I had the sugar component going on. But I had to gradually stop with the sugar. I couldn't do it quickly, but it does make a difference, and it is addictive. It is addictive, right? So we have to make sure that we minimize the sugar because it is notorious for impacting our mental well-being. All right. Sugar, we have sugar spikes and crashes. For an example, and it raises the blood sugar level rapidly. Sometimes you are going about your day, and then about midway, you just feel like, oh my stars, I need to take a nap. I need to do something. And you may get some caffeine. You may get a candy bar. You may get something that is quote unquote a quick fix, and it raises the blood sugar, but it doesn't last. It spikes it. So it sends a signal to your neurotransmitters that something is not right. So then there's a disconnect between your brain and gut, and that is not functioning. And remember that I said anything that goes wrong or happens to the body, it starts in the gut and mentally. So if there's a disconnect there, then everything else is off track. So it increases inflammation, and inflammation can become chronic. And chronic inflammation can also happen in the brain. It increases the stress hormone. It disrupts the gut, as I said, and it is addictive, and it leads to cravings and overconsumption. And when I say overconsumption, think about remember the commercial with Lay's. Lay's had a commercial, and they probably still do. I'm not big on TV, but I do know that Lay's had a commercial that says you can't eat just one, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Lay's is, and I'm not trying to bash. If you all like Lay's, you like what you like. Even growing up, I wasn't a Lay's fan. I was always a Ruffles girl. Not saying that Ruffles are any better, because they are mechanically changed as well. Not as much as Lay's is. But Lay's potato chips are high in the sodium and sugar content. And they are no longer, when they go through that process, they are no longer just a potato. It's a whole lot more. And that's why you can't eat just one. And you will find yourself wanting those. And that's just an example of and how you can easily overconsume something that is not working for your body. As a matter of fact, it works more against your body than anything, if that makes sense, right? And you want to make sure that sugar is a nutrients imbalance, like, and it lacks essential nutrients that the brain needs for support to keep cognitive ability where it should be. And it leads to emotional eating, which in turns leads to negative feelings. And it has a domino effect also. Are there any questions or anything before we start talking about hydration and how it impacts a cognitive function?
Dr. C, there is a question in the chat.
Okay.
And this is from Betty. And Betty wants to know, what can she eat to go along with her vitamin D to keep her hemoglobin high? She says she did labs on Wednesday and got her results, and it's at 10.9.
Okay. Do you your diet should increase. You should increase your greens, the leafy greens. And I don't know if you have them raw. I have tried having them raw. And we'll have to talk more before I can, kind of give some specific, because it's not like one prescription fits all. When I give advice to people, it's based on your lifestyle, your goals, and what you're trying to do. So, but one thing I can say, if you are not eating many raw greens, then start including raw greens, starting with one meal. Add some nuts and grains to your diet, at least for one meal or once a week. Just start gradually and kind of build, because you don't want to overdo it and become overwhelmed. Chances are greater than none that you won't be consistent. And consistency is key when you're taking care of your body and doing the right thing. Yeah.
All right. And then there's one more question from Marlo.
Okay.
What is good homemade wash for non-organic fruits and vegetables?
You can use white vinegar, baking soda, and Himalayan salt. That's what I use for mine. And it depends on what it is. It depends on, like, if it's fruit or vegetables that have skin on it, like oranges and cucumber, lemon, or and apples, for an example. I will leave them in there because most of them have a waxy feeling, have that wax on them that the vinegar can kind of fight through, kind of peel that part off. And then, kind of take them out and then put them back in with just the baking soda and salt. I can't say how long to leave them in there because I've never measured it. And maybe that's something I need to do. I make myself a note because you're probably the second or third person in the last month asked me about it. How long to do it, but I just stay there and watch it, and kind of pay attention to it and be doing other things and prepping. But I can tell you, and I learned this, my dad used to cook for us, and he said you cannot cook if you're not in the kitchen. You have to be in there when you're doing it. So whatever you're doing, just put it there and just prep and do something else while you're standing in there. Don't leave it then. Go and do something else, because that might not be good. Now for berries and things of that nature, I only let it sit for a few seconds, but I have more of the Himalayan salt. I use the pink Himalayan salt. Sometimes I use the black, and baking soda. And what that does, it gets those micro, and even if it's organic, still do that, because sometimes, it may have some microorganisms in there that you can't see, but they can't stand the salt and baking soda, and it will flush them out. And then you just rinse them, and then rinse them again. Like, it all depends. You may have to rinse them 3 or 4 times, put them in a strainer, rinse them, then let them sit in some of the water that you boil the water and let it cool, and then rinse. And that should help. It works for me, because fruit and vegetables is my life. And sometimes it's really expensive to buy them organic all the time. And sometimes and even the organic, I still wash them. And I do the same if I have bananas, because I use the banana peels when I juice. So those things work. And those the fruits like oranges and lemon, there are more nutrients in the skin than the fruit itself. So be mindful of that. I don't know if you guys juice or anything, but try it sometimes, and you'll see the difference. And I hope I answered your question. Are there any other questions? Okay. How are we on time, Jenny? Because I can't see.
We've got about 10 minutes left.
Okay. You see what I'm
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm willing to stay a little longer if anybody else wants to as well.
Okay, so what I'll do is I'll just we can just stop when I share the information about hydration, because it is extremely important. I mean, not less important than the other information before or after this section, but it is extremely vital, because sometimes it is difficult for people to get the water intake that their body needs, because they think, well, I don't want to be going to the bathroom every second of the day, right? That has been the issue across the board when I present information to people, or doing dance fitness classes, or anything as it relates to health and wellness. Water is always a #1 issue, but it's crucial, because the brain is composed of 75% of water. So just think that just by breathing and talking, your body expels water. So if your body's expelling it and you're not replenishing it, what kind of effect it does to the body, right? Because keeping your body hydrated impacts the brain structure, the blood flow, and neurotransmitter activity. So we want our brain to keep functioning properly. We want our cognitive abilities not to decline, and we don't want the neuro degenerative conditions to overtake our bodies, and that's on the another slide too, having those ADHD and Alzheimer's and all of that, right? But drinking enough water and keeping the body hydrated helps the blood flow, the brain structure, and fluid balance. cognitive performance. It prevents mental cloudiness. Sometimes we may have brain fog. It's like, I can't remember. And sometimes it may be age. But you want to make sure that you're doing all that you can do to minimize those episodes. And what I mean by that, I just look younger than I really am. And I guess some of you can kind of figure out that I'm older than I look, because I said my oldest daughter is 35. Except I had her when I was, no, I'm not going to lie and say I had her when I was 12, because I was, I was 21. But I was like, I can't remember what I was saying. I was trying to explain to somebody about CPR, and that I'm certified with the American Heart Association, and I couldn't remember Red Cross, and I said Blue Cross Blue Shield. And it's like, where did Blue Cross Blue Shield come from? Am I having a senior moment? And I drink plenty of water. I drink half my body weight in ounces, like hands down, and double that or more, especially on those days that I do the hard exercise. But those are things that happen to us. Keeping our bodies hydrated helps with our energy levels. And when it's dehydrated, it leads to fatigue. Sometimes people have issues with body temperature, and not thinking that it's associated with being properly hydrated. So drinking enough water keeps the body temperature regulated. It prevents mental fatigue. It helps with attention and focus. And it helps with brain health, because chronic dehydration leads to cognitive decline. And I mentioned earlier how you can start drinking your water and building capacity with your body, for optimal productivity, is to start in the morning as soon as you get up. And if you are dehydrated, you will know it, because sometimes your body will crave water, but you don't drink it. But I promise you, if you start drinking it initially, yes, you will go to the bathroom. And let me tell you why. Because your body is dehydrated and it's flushing out all those toxins that your body can't process. And that's why you have to go regularly. But once you get your body hydrated and get it on a system of receiving water, you will not have to go to the bathroom the way that you did initially. So challenge yourself, start drinking more water. And initially for those 2 weeks, you'll go regularly. But after that, but you have to be consistent. Consistency is key. And I promise you, you have my word that you will like what you see. And those are references. And this is my contact information. If you have further questions from me, or want to get in touch with me for whatever reason. And for those of you who are on the phone, my number is 256-714-1194. My email address is D as in David 3 healthfitness@gmail.com. Are there any other questions or anything? Thank you guys for your attendance. Thank you for listening. I don't know if you all are on social media, but you can find me at Dr. Angela Seay or D3 Health and Fitness on Facebook and Instagram, D3 Health Fitness. So like us, you can ask questions there if you want to. You can reach out. You can inbox me. Are there any other questions?
I just want to say thank you so much. We've got a lot of really good information today, a lot of encouragement. I really love the tip of just, replacing one bad habit with a good habit at the beginning and then continue to increase that, because I know for me, thinking I need to do a whole overhaul is incredibly overwhelming, and it's difficult to stay consistent when we're changing everything at once. So I think that's really amazing advice. And I think I would like to invite you back to do a part 2, because I think there's still so much more we can talk about. And I know there's people that signed up that didn't make it today. And so having a part 2, I think, would be very valuable. So we'll talk offline about that, maybe coming in next month or the month after, whenever your schedule is free.
Okay.
Again, I just want to remind everyone to put their email in the chat so I can take attendance. And please reach out to Dr. Seay if you have some information, or if you need more information or questions. And does anybody else have anything they want to say before we end today? All right. Well, thank you again, Dr. Seay. It's been a wonderful, wonderful morning full of information. I didn't want it to end. And thank you all for joining. This is a wonderful opportunity to do something for yourself, get that information. I'm so encouraged so many of you joined in today. And please let me know if there's anything that I could do for you. I want to open myself up again for care chats. They're available if you want to email me, if you just want to talk, or if you have any questions, you can talk with me about that too. I'm here for you all. Have a good weekend.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
All
Thank
right.
you guys.
Bye,
for
everyone.
Coming. Thank you, Jeannie, for having me. I really appreciate it. And you guys enjoy the rest of your day, and do have a marvelous, marvelous weekend, because you're in control of it. Self-care is the best care. If you don't take care of yourself, you will not be able to do what you need to do for your loved ones. Thank you again. Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.